Chiefs Kingdom, buckle up. Andy Reid just addressed the penalty controversy from the Lions win, and you know we're diving straight into it. Was it sloppy flags, targeted calls, or just the heat of a heavyweight game boiling over? Coach gave answers, and they're going to shape how the Chiefs play the next month. If you watched that finish and felt your blood pressure spike, you weren't alone. Detroit fans were loud, national shows went louder, and social media tried to rewrite the rulebook overnight. Reid's tone today wasn't defensive, it was deliberate. He drew a line between emotion and execution, and he put accountability right in the middle. This isn't just about one call at the end of a game. It's about the standard for a championship team and how the Chiefs respond when their composure gets tested. Reid says he heard the noise, reviewed the tape, and talked to his leaders about cleaning up the free yards. That's the headline, but the subtext says even more. So let's unpack what he actually meant, what it means for Mahomes and the offense, what it means for Spags and the defense, and how this ripples through the AFC race. Because when the margins are thin, penalties aren't just lines on a stat sheet. They are exits off the Super Bowl highway. Let's set the table, because context matters. Chiefs versus Lions wasn't some sleepy October matchup. It had playoff energy, star power all over the field, and pressure moments that magnify every yellow flag. Each snap felt like a leverage play, and in those games, officiating conversations always get louder. The controversy hinged on critical flags that extended drives and flipped field position. Those are momentum grenades. When the sideline feels it, the stadium feels it, and so does the national audience. That's how a standard penalty becomes a two-day narrative. Andy Reid today made two things clear. First, he respects how hard the official's job is at full speed. Second, the Chiefs cannot live in the gray. If your hands are outside, if your feet are late, or if your alignment is sloppy, you're inviting a whistle. Good teams don't beg for calls. Great teams remove the doubt. This is not the first time Kansas City has had to tighten the screws. Go back across the Reid era and you'll find stretches where pre-snap discipline became a point of emphasis. The difference now is that every yard matters more because the AFC gauntlet is brutal. You can't spot playoff teams 40 free yards and expect to style point your way out. Reid also emphasized communication. That means sideline to huddle, huddle to line, and line to motion man. Miss a word, mishear a count, or drift half a step off the tackle, and your play sheet shrinks. Championship football expands your options by staying on schedule. Penalties do the opposite. The Lions are a tough, well-coached outfit with a physical identity. That's precisely the kind of opponent that exposes any looseness in technique. When the other sideline plays heavy, you have to be cleaner, not louder. That was the tone from the head coach. Less talk, more technique. Let's translate coach speak into real implications. On offense, pre-snap penalties wreck rhythm. This team is at its best when Mahomes is living in 2nd and 5, not 2nd and 15. A false start or illegal formation cuts off your RPO menu, your play action timing, and your tempo packages. Every long down puts the defense in too high comfort and dares you to force something. The run game wears the brunt too. 1st and 20 erases your ability to marry inside zone with quick game. You become predictable, and defenses hunt your tendencies. Andy knows this. That's why he always talks about staying ahead of the sticks. It's not cliché, it's geometry. Shorter distances widen the playbook. For the receivers, offensive pass interference and pick route sloppiness can't happen. Kansas City's spacing concepts are lethal when the stems are clean and the rubs are legal. Reid's message was about landmark discipline. If your pick angle is off by a yard, you gift the flag. Fix the angle, the hands, and the timing, and suddenly it's a 20-yard catch instead of a 10-yard penalty. On the line, hand placement and anchor timing are everything. When tackles set late against speed, they panic into a hold. When guards overreach on a shade, they tug. The coaching counterpunch is rep volume and footwork sequencing. Expect an emphasis on vertical sets, hip square through contact, and independent hands so you can settle without clutching. Defensively, the cost is even higher because one flag can turn a stalled series into points. Spags lives on aggression and disguise. But if your contact at 5.5 yards turns into illegal contact, you just donated an explosive play. The correction isn't to play soft. It's to win with feet first, hands second. Carry leverage, then contest the catch. Edge rushers also feel it. A late hit wipes out the sack you worked all week to earn. The fix is rush lane maturity. If you're arriving a tick late, arrive low and under control. Finish with your chest, not your crown. Andy's language today hinted at coaching the finish more than the chase. You want chaos, not charity. Special teams can't be ignored. A block in the back on a big return is a double gut punch. It kills field position and momentum. Dave Tubbs units are a hidden edge when they're clean. When they're not, you're asking your offense to drive 85 every time. That's not sustainable. Perhaps the most underrated impact is emotional velocity. Penalties create frustration, and frustration creates freelancing. Freelancing breaks the structure that makes this team elite. Reid's calm today is strategic. He's cooling the temperature so the details can breathe. That's how you get back to surgical football. So what changes this week in practice? Expect a whistle-heavy operation period. Coaches blow it early, reset the rep, and build the habit. Procedure penalties get zero tolerance. You false start, you're out of the period for a snap. You line up off the ball, the entire unit runs it back. Immediate feedback cements discipline. Look for adjusted cadence packages. Mahomes is a master at hard counts and cadence variation, but too much spice can backfire on young linemen and motion men. The tweak is clarity. 1 or 2 primary cadences for hostile environments, with dummy variations shelved until the group is back in rhythm. Route detail will be a focus. Against press man and physical zones, expect more releases using foot fire and hands low to avoid early tugs. Stack technique, then separate late, not early. That keeps the ref behind the play instead of in the middle of it. Coaches will drill stems that break clean without crossing the legal line on rub timing. Run game answers matter too. Duo and inside zone with quick snap tempo reduce the window for pre-snap mistakes. You get on the ball, you run behind double teams, and you let the backs punish indecision. Penalties tend to spike when offenses get cute. A little less cute and a little more downhill can reset an offense's heartbeat. On defense, Spags will emphasize leverage calls and eyes. If the call sheet has a heavy dose of match coverage, the corners must transition hands off the stem, not on the stem. Safeties will rehearse collision depth so the contact comes inside 5. Fix the landmark, fix the laundry. Expect a rush plan that wins on edges without late hits. Teach finish angles that wrap the waist, not the helmet. Drill the pull-off when the quarterback releases. It sounds small, but 2 saved flags in a tight game are the difference between a win and a long Monday. Communication is the invisible fix. You heard Reid stress it, and it shows up as huddle tempo, concise verbiage, and decisive shifts. The more confident the call, the fewer wandering feet before the snap. Clean football starts with a clean sentence. Let's talk vibes, because those matter in Kansas City. Fans want 2 things today: accountability and reassurance. Reid offered both. He didn't blame the refs, he didn't duck the question, and he didn't throw players under the bus. He owned the part the Chiefs can control. Media reactions are split, which is standard after a high-profile finish. Some argue the officiating swung the game. Others say both teams got their share. But the conversation that actually matters inside the building is about standard. The Chiefs' brand is precision in chaos. When that slips, they fix it fast. Players hear the noise, but leaders filter it. That's where Mahomes, Kelsey, the line captains, and the defensive vets come in. They translate coach's message into player speak. Don't beat yourself. Kansas City is too talented to lose because of avoidable mistakes. That's the whole point of today's tone. Fans also want to know if the league will acknowledge anything. The answer is usually procedural. Teams send clips, the league reviews, and coaching points flow quietly. Publicly, you rarely get fireworks. Privately, corrections show up in how the next crew calls leverage, hand fighting, and alignment. That's the real feedback loop. Here's the ripple through the AFC. Seeding might come down to a single game, and a single game can come down to a single drive. Championship teams win the hidden yardage battles. Fewest pre-snap errors. Fewest cheap first downs allowed. Clean football is the tax you pay to earn home field in January. Look at the gauntlet ahead. You've got physical defenses that want to drag you into a 17-13 street fight. You've got track meet offenses that force you into 3rd and 8 decisions. The Chiefs beat both styles when they play on schedule. Penalty control is not cosmetic, it's the on-ramp to your best self. Rivalries amplify this, because emotion spikes technique errors. Against conference heavyweights, don't gift explosive plays with defensive contact or wipe out explosives with holds. Take the free 5 yards when they give it, but don't donate 5 in return. That's how one-seed paths get paved. So where do we land after Reid's comments? The Chiefs are not hand-wringing. They're calibrating. The film says the margin is execution, not identity. This offense still terrifies coordinators. This defense still swarms. The plan is to strip out the self-inflicted stuff and let the talent breathe. Expect a sharp, purposeful start next game. Early cadence discipline. Simple, efficient calls out of the gate. A couple of quick rhythm throws to settle the line and get the pass catchers into the flow. Then you expand into the creative pages once the foundation holds. Defensively, anticipate patient aggression. Win early downs with fits and leverage, earn your 3rd and longs, and then let the rush eat without the late contact. If the Chiefs trade 2 penalties for 2 extra punts, that's a massive swing in hidden EPA. Most importantly, today's message from the head coach puts leadership on the front foot. Acknowledge the noise, fix the details, and move on. That's how you keep a win a win, instead of letting the discourse steal it back on Monday. That's the latest from Kansas City Chiefs today, as Andy Reid addresses the penalty controversy coming out of the Lions' win. The takeaway is simple: control what you can control, clean up the freebies, and make the next statement between the whistles. The standard hasn't changed, but the urgency just went up. If you're rolling with us every day, you know the drill. We're here for the breaking news, the film truths, and the fan heartbeat of Chiefs Kingdom. Drop your takes in the comments and join the road to 5,000 subs here on Kansas City Chiefs Today.